Hello everyone. Good day to everyone. Today I will tell you about my unhappy life. When I found out I was pregnant with a married man 17 years older than me, I hid from my family and left my hometown in Dak Lak to go to Ho Chi Minh City to give birth because I was afraid of being forced to have an abortion. For the past 3 years, I have been heartbroken in my role as both father and mother to protect my child. While studying in Ho Chi Minh City, N was called back to her hometown by her parents to get married. After getting married, when my husband's family found out I was pregnant with our first daughter, they forced me to have an abortion, but I still tried to keep my blood. Ironically, my abusive husband still tried to beat me in order to damage the fragile fetus. At the end of my rope, I jumped into the river and committed suicide with my 4-month-old fetus. Luckily, people nearby rescued her and brought her home. I'm alive, but my husband's beatings still cling to me. When I was 6 months pregnant, I was beaten and bleeding and had to go to the emergency room. That was when I bitterly realized that if I wanted my child's safety, I had to leave my husband. I chose Ho Chi Minh City as my refuge. Because if I go back to my biological family, I know they will be hurt by the gossip. Like me, more than 100 single mothers came to the meeting with 100 different stories. There are people who are mothers of 2-3 children but have never worn a wedding dress. There are people who are single because their husbands suddenly passed away in a traffic accident. Even sadder are the girls who just found out they are going to be mothers but are not accepted as wives. New Anne, an 18-year-old girl, decided to become a single mother even though she knew that choice would bring many bitterness. When she found out she was pregnant with her lover's child, she told her boyfriend and he texted back, "I'm just the size of a bean. You should leave. In a few years we will have the means to think about it." She texted back, "I just want the child." So they broke up after giving birth and was both father and mother. Single mothers at the Happy Dreams Festival organized by the Single Mom community tell their stories. Single mothers only need money and children, not a husband, right? This question is often asked by people looking from the outside into the lives of single mothers. The answer from Single Mom members is reluctantly. Miss Tran Thi Du Ha, a single mother in Hugh shared. As an insider, I see that most single mothers are not recognized by the child's father. In this situation, many single mothers have been rejected by their own families. They consider it a disgrace to the family, so they are willing to let their child go to a faraway place to avoid gossip to give birth. In short, everyone wants to have a complete home, but life pushes them into situations. There are very few women who want to have children but do not want to get married. According to Ms. Ha, for women who say they don't need a husband, just money and children, it's mostly a lie to cover up one's own weakness. Because they have suffered too much damage in family relationships. A child who has both the love of his father and mother is 100 times better off than one who only has the love of his mother. I have written many articles on the Single Mom fan page advising women before deciding to become a single mother. If you still have it, look back and see if you can hold on to it. So that after choosing to be a single mother, there is nothing left for me to regret. According to the analysis of a psychologist in the world, the number of single mothers is increasing. The reason is that women are more autonomous and economically independent. Family life is not always as expected. also be affected to some extent, and the number of single mothers will increase. But to say this is a trend is not right. The single mom community originated from a fan page that few people expected to be initiated by a single man, only 28 years old, named Lam Nu Y. 5 years ago, saw a mother and child living across the street alone without a trace of their father. It turned out that the woman was a single mother, seeing that she had little contact with the outside world for fear of being scorned, struggled with the question, what should be done for mothers in the same situation as you? Fan page Single Mom Group was created from those concerns. In the early days, Y was alone, diligently posting articles to feed the page with the hope that single mothers have a place to share. Now, just 5 years later, the group has gathered 14,000 members. This is the playground, the place to share all the joys and sorrows of single mothers across the country. Miss Tran Thi Thu Ha is one of the longtime members of the group. As the owner of a wedding dress shop and a bridal makeup artist, Miss Ha has never worn a wedding dress. Until one day, a student of the shop asked Miss Ha to model for makeup, putting on a wedding dress by chance, but the mother of 3 felt so emotional. In that moment, Miss Ha suddenly thought about how many single mothers had the desire to wear a wedding dress like her. Immediately after that, Miss Ha contacted Lam Nu Y. The festival for single mothers called Happy Dream originated from there. On August 20, 60 single mothers from the central region met in Da Nang City. Some people brought their 7-month-old babies all the way from Ninh Thuan, Dak Lak, and Ngien to attend. They got to wear wedding dresses, stand on stage to take pictures with their children and interact with other mothers. Here are the stories of single mothers for you to listen to. I have been divorced for 10 years because my ex-husband had an affair. After the divorce, I focused on raising my children and working hard. Overcoming the initial difficulties, now my income is quite good, enough for the two of us to live comfortably. I bought a 2-story house in the city center. My daughter also just graduated from a famous university. The thing I'm most proud of is my daughter, since my parents divorced. The girl became more thoughtful, more caring towards her mother, very hardworking and filial. I never regret being a single mother. I even feel my life is much more comfortable without having to worry about my husband cheating on me. No need to do laundry, cook, or serve husband every day. I have a lot of time to beautify and take care of my body so I look younger and younger. I just want to say that, as women, please love yourself more, especially after divorce. If married life is so bad, too painful, be brave to let go to make yourself more comfortable. Story of Tran Laho, a 35-years-old hotel director shared. I got divorced when my child was just 1 year old and have been a single mother for 7 years now. I feel satisfied with my current life. Although I no longer believe too much in marriage, I still open my heart to many people. I don't mind getting married again, but I will choose carefully so that he can be a good father to my children in the future. I am financially strong, so I don't have much problem taking care of my children. What makes me a little sad sometimes is that my child often asks, "Mom, where's Dad?" I focus on educating my children well. The child is now very understanding and has stopped asking me questions about his father. Now that my children are grown, I feel more comfortable going out with friends and dating. I'm still young anyway. Maybe I'll find a friend to confide in when I'm old. Now mother and child are living very comfortably. If my daughter wants to meet her father, I am willing to take her to meet him. The story of Vukan, 35-years-old translator. My life after divorce was not too difficult overall. Maybe because the children are grown up, they can do everything on their own. I wake up at 7 a.m., buy breakfast, and take my kids to school. In the evening, I pick up my children, cook, help them study, then take the time to read or work. On weekends, I take my children out, go hiking, and travel. Girl Man Ni Vuong, and 36-years-old surgeon tells her story. I got divorced when my daughter was 16. That night, I couldn't sleep and sneaked out to the balcony to cry in the middle of the night. My daughter woke up and said, "Mommy, don't cry anymore." That time was the most crisis period in my life. I drowned my sorrows in alcohol, and when I was drunk, I called my ex-husband, cried, and scolded him and that other woman. On the phone, I vaguely heard her scolding me as crazy. After that time, I gradually lived more rationally. During the day, I bury myself in work. After work, I go to the market to cook and wait for my daughter to come home from school. Sometimes I work overtime in the evening. I wake up early in the morning to cook and bring lunch to work. Evening time is when I feel happiest during the day. Then 2 years later, my daughter and I also overcame the shock. I stopped complaining about my fate and resenting my ex-husband. I love life more radiant, and some people started to pursue me. I love life more radiant, and some people started to pursue me. I realized that life is a marathon. The point is to make it easier. In divorce, the ones who suffer the most are still the children, and the mother often has to endure the most public gossip. But in the end, after overcoming the initial difficulties, the life of a single mother is not as scary as people think.
có hoa chuối mới được cho biết cái gì vậy. Lấy nhiều thì bao tiền? Đấy, nó bóng nhiều đâu, lấy nhiều cũng thế không? Nó đều làm hết bác ơi.
Mày trồng được bao nhiêu năm rồi?
3-4 năm rồi, năm đầu. Ngon lắm, còn cái này nó già đời lắm rồi. Một dây không không vào ăn dính mồm. Hai con luôn á. Con trăm con được 8. Mày cứ cân đi. Bán lấy cả. Bán lấy cả đấy. Nó đang hỏi là bán lấy cả. Quần bộ gì? Rồi tí thôi. Rồi.
The next story comes from single mother Quach Wai Na. Real name is Nguyen Kiu Huang, born and raised in Vinh Yen, Vinh Phuc. A girl with personality dares to choose freedom to find happiness instead of a broken marriage. The journey of becoming a single mother was truly a turning point for her to change her mindset. Modern women need to know how to make the right choice at the right time. Wai Na once shared, "Sometimes, I also feel a bit regretful for leaving university open to get married. But I believe it was the right choice, at least at the time I made the decision. Even though life is difficult now, it is something we have to accept and take responsibility for." The story of a single mother and her impressive breakthrough journey. On every journey, choosing to go straight or turn should be carefully considered. Just like this time, instead of trying to hold on to an unhappy marriage, Wai Na decided to give each person a new chance to start their life over. Wai Na is a personality girl, typical of modern women's personality, brave and decisive. Being a single mother has never been easy. Wai Na is both a mother and a father. Life is full of worries about making a living, leaving her little time to take care of her daughter. That's what always bothered her. But Wai Na always maintains a positive, optimistic attitude towards life. For her, as long as mother and child are healthy, everything else can be earned. From a salary of 4 million, 7 million, until now, Wai Na has opened for herself a fairly stable online business model. Wai Na once shared about her previous job. Every day she had to work until 2-3 a.m. In the morning, I wake up at 6:30 to take my child to school, and in the afternoon, I pick him up and bring him home. Many times, she has no time for herself, for her children, and gradually loses many relationships. However, the biggest motivation for Wai Na not to give up, but to always try every day, every hour, is her daughter's happiness. Perhaps her mother's instinct really helped her break through and change herself, change her life. Don't let adult mistakes take away children's happiness. Every child deserves to be loved and have a good environment for their development. Simply spending a little more time with your child is a good thing to do. That's why Wai Na decided to switch to business, with a fairly free working model that brings stable income. The difficulties and failures that Wai Na has experienced, perhaps few people understand. But it is those ups and downs that are the motivation and foundation for her to become more and more mature. With her strength and will, Wai Na overcame social and personal barriers to prove that she could do it. At first, Wai Na only earned money to cover her living expenses. But when she turned to business, she began to have passion and interest in it. Perhaps Wai Na has really found her own path. She focuses and works seriously to create value for herself. The life of mother and child gradually became more stable. Her income has also increased many times compared to before, and she knows how to love herself through travel, experience, and enjoy life. Everyone, when you have the ability to make something, learn to enjoy it. On my journey of personal change, Wai Na really learned a lot, and that made her more open-minded and perceptive. Instead of being afraid and hesitant, take some time to think carefully and decide. Of course, with every choice, you need to accept risks along with opportunities. That is the law of life. Wai Na always wants to tell everyone, especially single mothers, that always be strong to overcome adversity. Be brave enough to dare to do and face everything. Know how to enjoy life and be forgiving and tolerant of the things around you. Looking back, life still has many good things. And negative thoughts only make each person smaller. There are many people who like stability, simply because the comfort zone makes them not feel too much pressure or anxiety. But if you really want to break out and change your life, dare to try new things, to learn and grow. What Wai Na always reminds herself. Think carefully before doing something so you don't regret it. Whether right or wrong, gain or loss, life at least teaches you many valuable lessons. Portrait of Nguyen Thi Du's life, born in 1998. Hometown in Tai Tu, Thai Binh, is a fairly complete sketch of the hardships of life as a single mother. Hurriedly walking to welcome reporters on a winter day, the short, thin woman could not hide the hardship on her face. As fate would have it, she has been raising her child alone for a long time now. She met and got to know her ex-husband from high school until college. The time they were in love was only for years. The time is not too long, but it is enough for her to believe that this person will be a strong shoulder for her to lean on for the rest of her life. But life is not always rosy. She confided that her husband was so heartless that he used the excuse of being busy with work to not be with her when she was 6 or 7 months pregnant and left her alone in Hanoi. She alone took care of everything, even when making a birth certificate for her child. Without her husband to support her, she had to take the bus to school from Tai Binh to Hanoi alone at 2:30 a.m. At 3 p.m., after school, I had to rush to the bus station to catch the bus back to Tai Binh on time so my child could drink breast milk. Because she loves her child so much, she always tells herself to try until her child is strong. Besides going to school, she also works as a collaborator for a company exporting woolen toys to Japan. Every day, besides taking care of her children and going to school, whenever she has free time, she knits to earn extra income. On average, she crochets about 20 teddy bears each week, earning about 500,000 Vietnamese dongs. This amount of money is not much, but it helps her with some of the transportation costs to Hanoi to study. Although society today is much more open about women divorcing, it is still inevitable that there will be gossip. Gossip from people around her, pointing at the fact that she raised her child alone. This is also one of the pressures that you need to be really strong to overcome. When her father passed away, everyone who came to pay their respects asked her random, curious questions like where was her husband? What do you do for a living? Have you provided any support for your father when he is sick? Have you visited him yet? She is very stressed because of the gossip. People looked at her with sympathy when they saw a small woman like her having to raise a child alone. Neighbors gossiped, wondering how bad she must be to be abandoned by her husband and have to raise her child alone. Not only that, sometimes her pressure also comes from her own relatives. If her family always understood, she was always criticized by her ex-husband's parents and relatives. She believes that being a single mother will make her lack experience in raising children. Even though her relatives always criticize her way of raising children, she still believes in herself. She always kept in mind that she could not let fate bring her down, and always reminded her children to stand up from difficulties in life. Learn to find your own solutions to problems. Miss, do you always reminds her children to stand up for themselves from difficulties in life? A complete and perfect family needs a father and a mother. Even if one is missing, it will become a big hole in the child's heart. One of the things that makes her more stressed is that as Tet approaches, she is worried that her child will be at a disadvantage compared to his peers. Afraid of being teased for not having a father. Afraid that the child will feel sad when seeing family and friends full on reunion day. She always tries to make up for it, so that her children do not feel disadvantaged in anything. On the days close to Tet, she always tries to arrange time to talk and share with her child every day to help the child receive enough warmth from the mother, so that the child does not feel sad because of the lack of a father figure. She always tries to make up for it so that her children do not suffer from not having a good life like their friends. In addition to being busy preparing to renovate the house and shop for Tet, she always tries to spend a lot of time walking in the park with her children. Take your child to the zoo, let him paint statues, even though with friends around, this is too normal. During the days before Tet, she also spends the weekend shopping with her children for beautiful clothes so that they can wear them in the new year. She also tries to buy toys for her children that she could not afford before. There are countless pressures of single motherhood that not everyone understands. But she turned the pain into strength to overcome everything. Because right now, beside her is always a lovely little princess. Recently, on social networks, the story of a single mother hiding her birth from her family has spread. The post was downloaded in a group, telling the story of a girl who got pregnant but then wanted to abort the baby. Even though life was difficult and she had a whole future ahead of her, this mother decided to keep her child. Life pushed her through one pain after another. She shared that she had to lock herself in her room for 2 months due to depression. But she did not have money to pay the rent, so she was kicked out by the landlord. Carrying a pregnant belly, no one hired her. She even tried to commit suicide by jumping into the river, but was luckily saved. Currently, she is struggling alone, selling clothes on the sidewalk to raise her child who is less than 10 months old. The story of a single mother taking her child to sell clothes on the sidewalk is widely shared on social networks. Immediately after being shared online, the story received sympathy from many people. Everyone wants mother and child to have a better life. Some people came directly to know the story, and were heartbroken to see the image of the child following his mother to sell goods at night. After many discussions, we finally met that single mother at Viet Duc Hospital. When she came here for a medical examination according to the doctor's appointment, the young mother is PTD, 27 years old, from Yen Bai. Single mother born in the 90s was pushed to the brink of misery, locked herself in her room for 2 months, went to the Red River to commit suicide. She shared her story on a group of mothers with the hope of receiving diapers and milk for her 10-month-old son. The reason she did that was because life for her and her child was too difficult, with no relatives to rely on. Son sick in hospital for 2 months. I didn't think my story would be shared outside the group and attract so many people's attention. At first, I posted this just to ask for diapers and milk for my child when we were in the most difficult situation. Many people initially thought I was making up stories to get likes. Then some people came to the area where I was holding my baby to sell used clothes on Chuang Duong Du Street, then everyone believed. However, I only asked some people in the group for help during that difficult time, T. shared. Single mother born in the 90s was pushed to the brink of misery, locked herself in her room for 2 months, went to the Red River to commit suicide. With a sad face, T. confided about his life. His mother passed away a few years ago. Life in the countryside was difficult, so he left Yen Bai to Hanoi to work as an employee for a clothing store. This girl then fell in love with a guy when the fetus in her womb was more than 2 months old. At this time, she also told her boyfriend, but he advised her to abort the fetus because it would be very painful to keep it. The fetus in the womb is growing bigger and bigger, the fetal heart has formed. Many nights T. tossed and turned, and then she decided to keep the baby in her womb. Since then, T. has been taking care of herself and her growing fetus alone. The boyfriend then lost contact. T. became depressed and fell into depression. She shrank herself into a room of only a few square meters. At that time, there was rice available at home. Sometimes I cooked and roasted it. Sometimes I cooked porridge with fish sauce and ate it. Lived for 2 months in 4 walls without communicating with anyone. I went from 50 kilograms to 46 kilograms because of thinking too much and crying, and I had no money to pay rent. The landlord threw away all my clothes and belongings. At that time, the landlord demanded a ransom of 1 million, so I had to sell my phone. Sold the machine for 1 million, but the owner asked for 1.5 million to let me get the stuff. I begged to get my things back, but couldn't, so I had to take 2 sets of clothes and wander around the market porch. After that, T. rented a room and applied for jobs everywhere, but at that time she was 5 months pregnant, so no one hired her. She did not dare to call home or the countryside for fear of gossip from the villagers. Relatives blame for pregnant without a husband. alone in a dark, damp room. Thinking that his situation was worse than death, he would rather end his life. She wandered out to the Red River area to commit suicide. At this time, some people discovered her and quickly brought her to shore. Was helped by a kind woman, gave her money for food and clothes to sell on the sidewalk to make money to support her life. Every day she buys old clothes and sells them on the sidewalk of Cheongdeung Street. Her work lasted until late at night. This helps T have money to support herself and take care of her unborn child. On the day I gave birth, everyone helped me with 6 million Vietnamese dongs for the birth fee. Right before Tet, my father had an accident and broke his leg. He had no money for surgery, but it took a few days to inform me. At that time, mother and son celebrated Tet in Hanoi. That was also the first Tet I was away from home and relatives. My father and everyone else blamed me for not coming home. I was so sad that on New Year's Eve I could only cry, T confided. Her son was born 3 months ago and then she lost her milk. That's why babies must use formula milk. At first, T had a hard time taking care of her child. When her child got sick, she had to take him to the hospital alone. Fortunately, some kind people are always there to accompany my mother and me. They occasionally text me to ask how I am and buy me food. When people asked me to sponsor milk for my son for a year, I refused. She said there are many more difficult situations than hers that need help when the child is strong. I will go to work and support myself and my child. Every day I still take my child out to sell goods until evening, and we still have enough to cover our living expenses. More than 2 months ago, my child was so sick that he had to be hospitalized continuously due to fever and illness. My child is sick and cannot go to work, so I have to borrow money from friends and even new acquaintances to take care of him. Even the child's birth certificate had to be mortgaged, so the child's birth certificate could not be made yet. Although the baby boy is 10 months old, T still has not made a birth certificate for him. Because of being in extreme poverty, I posted her information on a private group asking for help from nursing mothers. Soon after, many people came to help, but I just asked for diapers and milk for the baby. Currently, she said, the baby's health has improved a lot. Can go to work normally. After reading my story, my boyfriend called and said if he couldn't raise the child, he would take the child home to raise. However, no matter how happy or sad I am, I still want to take care of my children myself. Luckily, the child eats and drinks. Now my baby is 10 months old and can stand and walk 1 or 2 steps. I just hope my child is healthy and normal so I can go to work to take care of him. After posting, some people called and told their older children to leave their younger children and come sell products for them. When my child is older, I will find a stable job to take care of both mother and child. I also added that up until now, her relatives in her hometown do not know that she has a child who is almost 1 year old. She also rented a house in the center of Hon Kim district for more than 2 million Vietnamese dongs for convenience in trading goods. Let life take its course. I just want to do the best for my child and hope to get a birth certificate so that he can go to school later. Many times I want to go home to visit my father and relatives, but I don't know when I will dare to tell everything.
Cân.
Ồ, ngon thế.
Có tiền to đâu, tận tiền lẻ nữa là.
Hay đấy. Cái này mày
Trưa này ta được món rồi.
cái này vào lấy túi nữa đi. Nó vào thôi đi về tận Tuyên Quang ấy chị ạ.
Quang mà. Kia làm cái đường đấu ăn.
Cái này anh siêu ăn ngon. Anh phải cần qua nước nóng một tuần nhé. Cần để cho nó mất cái dần dần.
Ăn nhờn nhờn càng ngon.
Chân ba. Thôi tính cho ba một cân thôi. Quý ạ. Nào hai ba cái đâu ngoài đi. Đỡ hơn. Lần này nó chắc là không quay được. Cho hai lứa. Thôi, mà nói. Bán bầu nhỉ? Ăn ăn ăn. 5.000 cân à?
Đấy, cái này cơ.
50 à?
Cái lòng à?
Lên phí. Chị lấy không? mua thử đi. Có thì không mua nữa nhá. Ngon đã. Ngon là mua. Ăn ngon mà. Không ngon mua về vứt đi một xíu. Ăn ngon mà. Chả luộc miếng mang ra ăn nếm. Không mua chứ. Chứ sao luộc nhá. Đến cơn sau nếu mà cháo lên bán cháo luộc. Không cho bạn thử ngon mua mà. Chứ còn to không sợ mà. Đấy cứ bạn nếm.
When I write these lines, I hope that when you grow up, you will be old enough to understand. I will not blame this mother for my life. I will not blame this mother for my life. Mom doesn't know if he deserves to be called your father or not, but no matter what, we can't change the fact that he is still your father. I met your dad when I was a senior in college, and he had just found a job with a limited salary. However, I am still happy because I have someone to share my joys and sorrows in life. When I was alone in the bustling Saigon, I thought I would have a beautiful love. A good man loves and cares for me, but Mom was wrong. Just because of lack of courage and infatuation in love, Mother let emotions overwhelm instead of reason. I was hoping that when I told your dad that I was pregnant, he would share with me concerns about having a baby when parents are not married. But on the contrary, those expectations were cruelly bitter, and the 3 children quietly left the mother and child. Until now, I still wonder, should I be angry with that person? Should I hate people, torment myself, or thank fate for giving me children? Should I hate people, torment myself, or thank fate for giving me children? I'm sorry, my dear, if I have to confess that many times I thought about giving up on you. If I hadn't shown up, Dad would still be with Mom. Mom will continue to go to school and graduate smoothly. Her future will also be brighter. Mom is so selfish, isn't she? Actually, that's just a way for Mom to blame you so she can feel a little better. But in the end, everything comes from the mother. That's why I decided to keep you for me. Not cruel enough to kill the love that remains, and because I know, I love you. Mother decided to keep her child even though the child's father was unfaithful. Since then, my mother's life has taken a different direction. My dear, it is unacceptable for an unmarried woman to have a child. In this country of heavy social prejudice, everyone around looked at her to judge and admire her. My grandmother was sad and cried a lot, but she didn't blame us because she loved us. For many years, Grandma raised Mom alone. But now Mom repeats Grandma's hard life. How can Grandma not be sad? Seeing my grandmother cry, I couldn't hold back my tears. I cried for the pain. The pain that mother had to go through, and cry more for your grandmother. After, everything cannot be hidden from everyone around. Mom's final year of school was interrupted due to declining health, so Grandma decided to take her home to take care of her. At that time, only 4 months left until the baby is born. How lucky for both of us. Back at my mother's house, I felt much safer and more relieved than before, and I just kept in mind that from now on, you must protect and take good care of your child. When the mother went into labor, the doctor said that because the fetus had not turned its head yet, it would be difficult to give birth. Mom was very worried. She was afraid of losing her child, afraid of losing her faith. Perhaps a son will never understand the pain of a mother during childbirth. But mother and child did not cry or scream, because they were afraid that doing so would waste energy and affect the baby during labor. Then Mom was afraid. What if Mom fainted before seeing you? Grandma would give you to someone else because she was worried about Mom's future. All those worries passed and the baby was born peacefully. My son is so cute and adorable that he makes me burst into happiness. When you were in the hospital, you must have felt very sad, right? The children around were all held in their father's arms, fondled and loved. I only have my grandmother and mother by my side. Suddenly, mother felt sorry and painful, but then had to quickly wipe away her tears. Was about to roll over because I was afraid that my grandmother would see and make me sad too. I'm sorry, son, but I will definitely make it up to you with my sincere love and raise you well. Every day that passes, seeing my child healthy, growing steadily, and always showing love and affection for me, makes me forget all my sorrows. Being a single mother is not easy for a young girl like me. Many times I wanted to give up everything to free myself. At those times, the baby's cries, laughter, and wide eyes woke me up from my daze. When mother can hold her child in her arms and play with her child, all her worries disappear. All sadness disappeared, leaving only a circle of peace and safety surrounding the mother and child. Now, in 15 days, my son will be 1 year old. The baby is babbling the first words, Mom and Grandma. And then you will grow up even bigger. Always eat well, grow up quickly, and be healthy with Mom like this. So that Mom can see that her efforts are not in vain. Use love to erase the pain, my child.
Bắt sang bên này một tí nha. Đây hết rồi. đây. Đây.
เ Cân 80.000.
Cười thật nha. Cười nặng lắm. Không, mua về để làm gì thấp. Con này, mua hồ đi. Mua con này. Đấy đấy, đang bảo chị lấy con đấy.
Đây ngon lắm.
Lấy bánh hồ đi. Bánh thì
3.000 không bán đâu. Này còn đâm nữa còn không bán đâu. Đây nhà chuối này, đi ra lô là đi lô của sao này à? Bán mình giá một. Mua giá lâu giờ bán rồi.
vâng, nó ra hết rồi.
Đây mấy cái. Bây giờ cho em bán cho có cuộc cũng nào hết hả? Đi đây. Ôi. Ừ. Em ở nhà nè. Nhà vui nè. Cái thường tờ. Là gì đấy? Bánh nếp gì thường tờ. Nguyên rau hết mà. Bánh mà. Chơi công viên à? Không kìa. Đi lên chim bánh đen. Còn một ăn không hết rồi. Không có này đi ăn. Một mấy bữa một cái gì nhé. Anh đi cầm đi. Giờ kiếm thằng mà học quá.
Học quốc. Nhưng mà vừa trả chưa.
Chợ tại tôi có loại.
Có làm gì người ta phải có cái đang có.
tạc cái gì rồi?
Cái gì á?
Đánh cho nhiên đỡ mất thời gian thì không quên.
Con này khoảng bao nhiêu cân? Con vịt được khoảng bao nhiêu cân? 2 cân con. 2 cân. 70.000 một cân. Không, 80.000 một cân. 70.000 không bán. 70.000 không bán. Bán. Đây là thịt chim nướng này hả? Cái bác thử một con này xem. À. Dạ. Cân chín.
Bảo mai lúc nào đấy ấy. Bây giờ đang lấy.
98, 72, 70.000, 160. À đây, 70.000, 100 triệu.
Mai đang đi à?
Ăn không ngon. Ăn ngon mà ăn ngon lắm. Đây bắt con xem nào. Bắt con xem á. Lên cô kìa bán hàng. Tem này. Chắc nhất là cái vịt ngoài ấy ăn không ngon. Không, vịt này tự nuôi mà ăn ngon lắm.
sơ mại mà.
Cân dưới. Em cho cả cái lồng này nhé. Tại chứ đó à? Cạn hơn nhiều.
Lấy đâu, con đây lấy đâu. Xả đi. Không, lấy đâu xả đi, xả đi.
Cho nó đi, cho nó đi, cho nó đi. Một cân 8.
Nha.
Vâng, cảm ơn anh nhá.